Jai Mahamaya ki Jai, Mother Saraswati Mata ki Jai. If you remember in our last reading of the Chandi Path, we saw the Divine Mother, Mahamaya, Mother Kali, Mother Chandi, destroy that great demon, the great thought, great ego, Mahasur, who comes in the form of a buffalo in this story because it's so great and overwhelming, powerful. But also he had the ability to transform himself into many different shapes, in elephants and lions and men as a man. So as I think about that, I realize that, yes, the ego is very crafty. And just when we think perhaps we've subdued the ego and gone back to our heavenly thoughts, our divine thoughts, one pops out in another form. I have to say that it's something that I have battles with fairly often, this great ego. When I get concerned, right now there's a lot of concerns. Will there be enough money for the ashram? Will everything be okay? Will people agree with our point of view? And different things like that. And when I become very worried about that, I think I become the doer. I must get a newsletter out faster. I must do this. I must respond. I must think unkindly about somebody. I must be in a hurry and not take the time to lovingly interact with somebody that needs some time and attention. And at those times, I realize that I'm forgetting these beautiful words that Shastriji told me. Shastriji, who wrote the beautiful Chandi Saptasati that we read each day at the end of our 20-minute meditation. When I asked him about the future of the ashram, he said, "Oh, Ramloti, it will be very good. Otherwise, the Divine Mother would not have let herself be installed there. And you would not have been born as a servant of the Divine Mother." And then he reminded me and cautioned me, and you remember that you do nothing. Mother does it all. When those words come back to me and I can use some of my weapons, I go to my mantras and prayers, pujas, meditations, karma yoga, the different tools that we have to overcome these thoughts that keep us in our ego or in other places that are not connected to our divinity. And sometimes, particularly with the great eagle, Mahasur, he was given the boon by Lord Brahma that no man, no god, no various other things could defeat him in battle. So he thought that he could overtake the world, which he did for many, many thousands of years. And if we look around, it's pretty predominant that everybody thinks about I and me and mine and are fighting over what's mine and what's not yours and hurting one another. So definitely very strong. And so we saw that all the divine energies were put into one light, which was the Divine Mother emanating from that. And so it was actually the Divine Mother that overcame this great thought. And as I remember that, when I'm sunk into my thinking, I'm doing it, I have to do it, and I sit in front of my altar, a picture of Mother, or I come in here and sit in front of Mother, listen to her praises, pray to her to help me, help me, help me. She always, when I pray devoutly and deeply, comes to my aid and brings me back to the realization, like Shastriji said, I do nothing, she does it all. And I'm so grateful. It doesn't mean we don't have work to do, but it's always understanding that Mother is at the helm, the universal divine goddess. We'll go on with the reading. This is from chapter 4, the meditation. So the gods are all celebrating that the Divine Mother has destroyed the great ego. We meditate on she who is constantly served by all men desiring the ultimate perfection, who is surrounded on all sides by gods, the goddess who removes difficulties, who is named Jaya, victory. Her beautiful body is splendidly dark like a black cloud. With her side look, she instills fear into the multitude of enemies. A digit of moon has been fastened upon her head where it shines. In her hand she holds a conch, discus, small sword, and trident. She has 3 eyes. She stands leaning upon the shoulders of a lion, and her radiant illumination has completely filled the 3 worlds. The Rishi said, after the death of that excessively forceful and evil thought, the great ego, and the destruction of his armies of other disturbing thoughts by the hand of the divine goddess, the rule of the pure Indra, along with the other divine ones, with their heads bowed in reverence, began to sing a hymn of praise to that supreme empress, the Divine Mother. Their beautiful bodies were filled with excessive delight and pleasurable excitement. Her intrinsic nature is the aggregate energy of all the gods. With her energy, she pervades the entire universe. She is the most highly regarded by all the gods and seers of sacred wisdom. To the Mother of the universe, with the greatest intensity of devotion, we give reverence unto her. May she grant us all welfare. Whose incomparable greatness and strength the lords of the universe, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva, are incapable to extol. May that Supreme Empress, she who tears apart thought, Mother Chandi, think to protect the entire gross world and destroy fear and impurity. She is the goddess of true wealth in the homes of virtuous souls, and is the misery of those who perform evil. She is intelligence in the hearts of the pure-minded, faith to the truthful, and humility to the truly noble. To that divine goddess we bow in reverence. Please protect the entire universe. How can we describe your inconceivable form or your uncanny behavior displayed in the battle between all the gods and thoughts? How you valiantly slew the thoughts and other evil ones. In the origin of all perceivable existence, you are the cause. Within you are the 3 qualities of nature: conception, activity, and rest, the 3 gunas. These 3 exist in you, but you have no connection with any of their defects. You are beyond the conception of the Supreme Consciousness and the great God and the other gods. You are the support of all of them, though. This entire perceivable universe is only a portion of your being, because you are the imperceptible, primordial being, the Supreme Nature. O Divine Goddess, in all sacrifices you are the word Swaha. I am one with God, by whose pronunciation all gods win contentment. Moreover, you are performed by all people as oblations of ancestral praise, Swada, the cause of satisfaction to the ancestors. O Goddess, for those who seek realization, the inculcation of absolute freedom, inconceivable are the great austerities to be performed to be devoid of all defects, having the sense of subdued complying with the essence of the principles of truth. O Supreme Empress, the wise who practice yearning for liberation, that ultimate knowledge of realization is you. You are the intrinsic nature of sound and exceedingly pure. You are the foundation. You are the three Vedas and the Supreme Empress. The generation and protection of the universe is the activity that you manifest. You are a destroyer of fear and torment in the entire perceivable universe. O Goddess, you are the energy of intelligence by which the essence of all scriptures is understood. As the Goddess who relieves afflictions, you are the boat that takes aspirants across the difficult sea of worldly thoughts, unbound by attachment. You manifest as the Goddess of wealth in the heart of consciousness to do battle with the desires of want, and as the Goddess of light to Lord Shiva, who wears the moon as a diadem. The smile in your face shines pure like the splendor of the full moon's reflections, or like excellent gold desirable as beauty enhanced by love. Yet still, after seeing that beauty, the great ego, Mahasur, struck out in anger. This is greatly an incomprehensible act. O Goddess, it is even more incredulous still that the great ego, Mahasur, did not quit his life immediately upon seeing your wrathful face, terrible with brows knit and of reddish hue like the rising sun. For who can maintain his individual self upon seeing the ruler of dissolution? O Goddess, be gracious. When you are pleased as the intrinsic nature of the universal soul, the entire world enjoys welfare and prosperity. And when your anger is known, immediately the entire families of enmity are destroyed, as we have verified the moment when the great ego, with his extensive forces, meant his demise. O you who are the grantor of all welfare, those with whom you are pleased are certainly respected in their country. They are blessed by devotion of their children, wives, and servants. By your grace, O Goddess, the meritorious souls perform every day all the actions of spiritual discipline and righteous conduct with the greatest of faith and devotion, and thereby attain to heavenly perception. Are you not therefore the grantor of all fruit in the three worlds? O reliever of difficulties, remembering you, the fear of all living beings is dispelled. When remembered by those individuals in the harmony of spiritual growth, you increase their welfare and intelligence. Who is like you, O dispeller of poverty, pain, and fear, whose sympathetic demeanor always extends compassionate assistance to everyone? The entire cosmos is pleased by the destruction of this enmity, and even though these ill-advised beings committed sins sufficient to warrant an infinite suffering in hell, nevertheless, let them attain to the realms of heaven by meeting their demise in the battle with you. Thinking thus, O Goddess, certainly you destroy all enmity. Why is it that your one glance does not reduce all thoughts to ashes, so that being purified by the weapons, these thoughts may be raised to the higher worlds? You are so benevolent that you think for the welfare of even your enemies. If your sword's light and the foremost dazzling radiance from your pike did not blind the eyes of the thoughts, the reason was that they also saw the rays of light like the glow of the moon, the giver of bliss in perceiving the vision of your beautiful face. O Goddess, your inclination is to eradicate the faulty conduct of the wicked. With the vision of your form, no other concept may be contemplated, as no other similar exists. Hence your strength and prowess in slaying these thoughts who were destroying the power of the gods, Thus you manifest your compassion to your enemies. O goddess, granter of wishes, with what can your valor be compared? You give fear to enemies with your excessive beauty. Where is a form beyond your own? Kindness in the heart and severity in battle, and all the three worlds, these two can only be seen in you. In slaying these enemies, you have protected the entire three worlds. By dying on the battlefield, these enemies have arrived in heaven, and you have dispelled all our fears and thoughts. We bow to you. O Goddess, protect us with your spear, Mother of the universe. Protect us with your sword. Protect us with your sound of your bell, and protect us with the twang of your bowstring. In the three worlds, there are forms of your exquisite beauty and other exceedingly frightful that are conceived. With all of them, protect us and protect the world. O Mother of the universe, protect us everywhere and every time with your sword, your spear, your club. Protect us on every side with every weapon that is in your lovely hands. Jai Mahamaya Ki.